All right, you've been watching these videos, and by now you may think you know everything there is to know about Richmond. But in today's video, we're going to be looking at 10 things you especially need to know before you make a move. Now, if you are doing your research on Richmond, you are particularly going to love this video because Richmond is one of the hottest places to move to. And trust me, there is so much for us to cover. When I first moved to Richmond, I had lots of questions. If you have any questions about this video or other things, please don't hesitate to text me or give me a call. I'm a real estate agent. This is what I do for a living. Seriously, I'd love to chat. Right now, though, let's take a look at the 10 things you've got to know before making a move to Richmond. Number one is the cost of living. I don't have to tell you that inflation has made life a lot more expensive for all of us over the last few years. The cost of living is relative, isn't it? You can always find somewhere that costs more or costs less than where you are right now. The cost of living in Richmond is very affordable compared to most U.S. cities. According to NerdWallet, cost of living in Richmond is 2% lower than it is in Charlotte, 7% lower than Dallas, 18% lower than Miami, 35% lower than Washington, D.C., 41% lower than Brooklyn, New York, and a full 44% lower than San Francisco. If you're moving from D.C. to Richmond, you'll find that gasoline is 15 cents per gallon less expensive here. And if you go to McDonald's to buy a quarter pounder, you may pay $2 less in Richmond. I'm sure you're thinking about housing costs, and here's where the numbers just get crazy. Median price for a 2-bedroom apartment in D.C., $3,490. In Richmond, $1,360. And for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in D.C., you may pay $1.1 million as a median. In Richmond, $399K. There are some added expenses you'll need to account for if you're making a move to Richmond. For example, there's a restaurant tax, 7.5% on every meal in the city, which adds up to about $4 extra bucks on a $50 meal. But unless you're moving from a place like Indianapolis or Greenville, South Carolina, life is going to cost you less in Richmond. The next thing we need to talk about is job opportunities. According to the Wall Street Journal, Richmond has one of the hottest job markets in the country right now. It's number 11 on their list, the highest ranked East Coast city outside Florida. Unemployment right now stands at 2.5%. Some of the biggest employers in town are Altria, Capital One, and Dominion Energy. CoStar is adding 2,000 jobs over the next few years. And Lego is building its first ever factory in the U.S., adding over 1,700 jobs. 8 of the Fortune 500 companies have their headquarters here in the Richmond area. It's no wonder that more and more college graduates are targeting Richmond as the place where they want to get their first real job. The next thing you need to know about is weather and geography. Located halfway between Florida and Maine, Richmond benefits from the mild mid-Atlantic weather patterns. It definitely has all 4 seasons and 100 days of sunshine each year. Winters are relatively mild, with the average low temperature in January right around 28 degrees. Summers can be hot and humid. Average high in July, 90 degrees. I love the fact that Richmond is located halfway between the beach and the mountains. You can drive 90 minutes east and you're at Virginia Beach, 90 minutes west, you're in Shenandoah National Park. Great options either direction. If you are an allergy sufferer, you might face some trouble. Richmond has a lot of pollen because of all the trees. And hurricanes can be an issue here too. We're certainly not in the main path like coastal cities would be, but hurricanes have done some damage here in Richmond. Probably the most notable was Hurricane Isabel back in 2003 when 20 people died in Virginia. Snowfall is not a big deal here. We get a little bit, usually, each year. I think last year we got a ½ inch, and my grandkids and I made the most of it at our local park. But I would just encourage you, if weather and geography are a big deal for you, just make it a point to visit Richmond during the different seasons and see for yourself. Next, we've got to talk about one of my favorites, recreational activities and sports. Richmond has so many outdoor activities to choose from, and it starts with the James River Park system. I think many would say that the James River is the soul of Richmond, and its park system offers so many places like Belle Isle and Pony Pasture, great places for a picnic or excursion. There are great hiking and biking trails in Richmond too. I think of the Buttermilk Trail or the Capitol Trail that goes from Richmond all the way to Williamsburg and Jamestown, about a 50-mile trek. Beautiful stretch. Then there are the parks, Bryan Park, Forest Hill Park, Pocahontas State Park. Richmond's parks are actually ranked 22nd in the country among the 100 most populous cities. Says a lot about all that the city has to offer. If you enjoy taking yoga, there are numerous classes offered throughout the city, both indoors and outdoors. You may want to join a meetup group like the James River Hikers that helps you connect with new people who share your outdoor passions. There are 3 climbing gyms in the city. If you're a runner, lots of great events. The Richmond Marathon every November, the Run Richmond 1619 event, 2 races celebrating 400 years of Black history here in Richmond. And then there is what is fondly called Richmond's biggest block party, the UCrop's Monument Avenue 10K, held each spring. Richmond is an amazing place for youth sports and tournaments. At the Henrico Sports and Event Center, you're going to find 12 basketball courts, 24 volleyball courts, and space for 3,500 spectators. The River City Sportsplex, which is known as the tournament mecca in the U.S., you'll find the nation's largest pod of synthetic surface fields. We can't forget professional sports. There's no NBA or NFL team here in Richmond, but we've got NASCAR with 4 big races held every year at the Richmond Raceway. There's also a AA baseball team, the Richmond Flying Squirrels, part of the San Francisco Giants system. And then for soccer, we've got the Richmond Kickers and the Richmond Ivy, our men's and women's teams, both of which set attendance records within their league. Oh yeah, let me add, we just released the new Richmond Home Buying Guide that includes dozens of tips about moving to the city. So be sure to check that out. You'll find the description in the link below. The 5th important thing we need to talk about is schools and universities. When making a move, parents often put school choices at the very top of their priority list. Well, we've got it all here in Richmond. Public schools, private schools, homeschool support groups. You're going to find everything you need and then some. Let me offer a few suggestions that might help you with your research. First, keep in mind that Richmond City and each of the surrounding counties has its own individual school system. My Richmond Home Buying Guide includes links to each of their websites. So if you'd like a copy, just click the link in the description below and I'll get that out to you right away. Online sites like greatschools.org and niche.com provide rankings of each of those public schools so that you can compare in your research. And if you're looking for a home within a certain school district, I can set up an automated search for you so that every new listing within that school district gets emailed to you automatically as soon as it hits the market. All you have to do is ask. Richmond is also home to several universities. We've got the Virginia Commonwealth University, or VCU, public university with 21,000 undergraduates and top-ranked programs in the arts, nursing, and occupational therapy. The University of Richmond is here with 3,100 undergraduates. It's ranked number 25 among national liberal arts colleges by U.S. News and World Report. And then we've got Virginia Union University, a private university with 1,300 undergraduates, very affordable tuition, $40,000 a year, which is about half of what the average private school tuition costs. Within a short drive of Richmond, you've got 3 other schools. Virginia State University in Petersburg, which is ranked number 5 as one of the top producers of teachers. You've got Randolph-Macon College in Ashland, known for its Division III sports teams and really high athletic achievements. And then an hour west in Charlottesville, the University of Virginia, ranked number 24 among all national universities. Well, this next category has my mouth watering: restaurants and breweries. What do Paris, Barcelona, and Richmond have in common? Well, they're among the 10 cities named by Essence magazine as the best culinary destinations of 2024. Bon Appetit magazine says Richmond is America's next great restaurant-obsessed town. It ranks right up there with other cities like Nashville, New Orleans, as Savannah, as one of the South's best food destinations. Some of the country's very best chefs are here, like Brittany Anderson, Lee Gregory, Peter Chang, Daniel Harthausen, who won HBO's Big Brunch competition, and Velma Johnson from Mama J's. And if you're looking for something to wash down all that good food, Richmond has great beer. It has been at the center of the craft brewing revolution for years. In 2010, there was just 1 brewery here in the city. Today, there are over 35 breweries, cideries, and distilleries, 9 of which are in Scott's Addition, a popular nightlife spot for locals and visitors alike. If you're a beer lover or a foodie, you are gonna love Richmond. Number 7 on our list, music and festivals. After more than 3 decades in the Maryland suburbs of Washington, D.C., where traffic and politics create so much stress, I was relieved to find that Richmonders have a much more balanced way of life. They work hard, but they know how to play hard. From where I live in Forest Hill, I can get on my bike, ride down the James River Park system, cross Belle Isle, and be at Browns Island, where many of Richmond's best concerts and festivals are held. Some of the classics that take place each year are the Irish Festival, Easter on Parade, Arts in the Park, the Carytown Watermelon Festival, the Lebanese Food Festival, Dominion River Rock, and what may be the biggest of them all, the Richmond Folk Festival. Lots of concerts take place on Browns Island each year. There's also the Second Street Festival, the Richmond Jazz Festival, the Richmond Symphony Orchestra, and then there are concert series like the one held in Forest Hill, Music in the Park, with 6 free shows throughout the summer. If that's not enough for you, we've got the performing arts. At the Altria Theater, you've got Broadway productions, comedians, other shows held regularly. There's the Virginia Repertory Theater, the Richmond Shakespeare Festival, and Richmond Ballet. You are not going to be bored in Richmond. Well, let's talk next about transportation. If you have ever experienced the kind of traffic that's common in Northern Virginia or LA or New York, you are going to love commuting in Richmond. Located at the intersection of Route 95 and Route 64, it's an easy drive up to Washington, D.C., east to Virginia Beach, south to North Carolina and Florida, or west to Charlottesville. There are multiple bridges that cross the James River. And really, no matter where you are in the city, thanks to 295 on the east, Route 288 on the west that form a beltway around the city, you're never more than 20 or 30 minutes away from any city destination. The GRTC, Richmond's bus system, has operated free of charge since COVID hit. An easy-to-use app shows all of the times and the bus stops. Richmond International Airport, located just 20 minutes east of town, has over 150 daily flights to points all around the globe. Amtrak is another option for easy access to cities like New York, Philadelphia, D.C., or Charlotte. I'm noticing that more and more Richmonders are getting around town under their own power, on their bicycles. The city keeps adding new bike lanes, and they've recently announced a trail that's going to connect Ashland in the north to Petersburg, south of the city. Can't say there's no traffic here, but compared to DC's Capital Beltway, there is no comparison. Number 9 on the list is health and healthcare. For homeowners with young kids, finding the right school is always a high priority. But for older homeowners, the most important priority may be access to good health care. Well, Richmond has all the options you need. VCU's Medical Center is ranked number 1 in Richmond and number 2 in all of Virginia. Johnston, Willis, St. Francis, and St. Mary's hospitals provide top-notch health care throughout Metro Richmond. And if you need a specialist who's not available here in town, the University of Virginia Medical Center is just 1 hour away west in Charlottesville, and it's ranked number 3 in all of Virginia. In addition to a great healthcare system, Richmond just embraces a healthy way of life. You'll find lots of farmers markets, like the big RVA market that takes place at Bryan Park every Saturday. You'll find groups like the November Project doing group exercises that promote health and community. There's just a great work-life balance throughout this city. I want to end with something really cool that most people just don't know. Though we can't ignore its ugly history of racism and oppression, Richmond has a thriving, beautiful art scene. This is a city that thinks of its streets as a canvas for creativity. You'll find over 150 murals and examples of street art throughout downtown RVA. In some of the grittiest parts of the city, you'll be surprised at these sudden outbursts and explosions of beauty and color. Mending Walls RVA is a public art project that brought together artists from different cultures to create murals celebrating collaboration and mutual understanding. Just this past weekend, I participated in the RVA Clay Studio Tour, meeting artists from 21 different pottery studios around town. VCU's Fine Arts program is ranked number 4 in the country, and its sculpture program is ranked number 1. Last but definitely not least is the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. Open 365 days a year, free admission to many of the programs. It houses over 50,000 pieces of art. Your move to Richmond is going to be an amazing experience if you're well prepared. Don't forget to download our Richmond home buying guide that's packed with lots of advice. You'll find the link in the description below. If you have any questions or would like some personal advice, feel free to reach out at any time. Thanks for watching. Now, if you found this video helpful, make sure you check out the next one, where I talk about some of the very best neighborhoods in Richmond. And if you want to make sure you don't miss any of the upcoming videos, just click this button right here. Thanks so much for supporting my channel. I'll see you in the next one.